Hey Browns fans, it is time to go in the film room and take a look at the Browns' big victory over the Baltimore Ravens, because it's time for X's and Joe's, brought to you by Keep It Fun Ohio. Nathan Zegura alongside the Hoff, Joe Thomas for you today. And Hoff, may I just say, you look resplendent with that mustache.
Well, I appreciate that. The comments have become endless from my friends, but the family feels a little bit differently about it. Kids, they don't even want me in the same room as them. So I must be doing something right if the kids are noticing me finally.
That's right. It doesn't, a gold jacket, big deal. Hoff with the mustache, now they're locked into you. Well, the Browns were locked in, Hoff. Fourth quarter on the road, Baltimore Ravens down 14 at one point in this game with 11 minutes to go. They get an offensive touchdown, and on the very next possession for the Baltimore Ravens, you get what you needed, a defensive touchdown. So we're going to take a look at this one here. Ultimately, Obo Okoronkwo gets pressure. He gets his hands on the ball, up in the air, into the waiting arms of Greg Newsome, and it is a pick six for the Browns, and what a great first interception for Greg Newsome's career. But let's take a look at this play as it unfolds. 2nd and 8 on the Ravens 27 with 8 minutes and 46 seconds to go in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, Obo's over here playing against the right tackle for the Ravens. Does a nice job with a quick get off. He gets into the right tackle quite quickly. And then it's all about just restricting the pocket. You don't always have to affect the throw by getting sacks and hitting the quarterback. Sometimes it's just getting the man that's trying to block you into the quarterback's face, making him feel you. And in this case, as you restrict the pocket and as you constrict it, you're able to get your hands in the air and get a deflection up in the air. And Z, as you always say, tips and overthrows, we got to have those, and Greg Newsome had it.
Absolutely. It looks like the Browns are playing kind of what I would call their inverted cover two, where the outside corners, Greg Newsome, if you go back to the start, and MJ Emerson on the other side are kind of ultimately getting back into position to play the deep halves, and the two safeties in the middle are actually buzzing down. And so when the ball's up, as you see as the play unfolds, Newsome's actually dropping back, which gives him the perfect vantage point to see it in the air, to break on it going towards their end zone so that he can catch it and goes. You see, he kind of has that deep half over there on the bottom side of the screen, and so it puts him in a perfect position. And Miles getting doubled at the top, almost getting around the corner, the ball up off of Obo, and then you just see right there, Greg Newsome, perfect spot. Johnny on the spot, as they say, perfect spot, perfect time, makes the catch, and then outruns everybody into the end zone.
Yeah, how about the ability to track the ball while it's in the air? And then once you get your hands on it for a defensive back, to be able to outrun Lamar Jackson, that is no easy feat. One of the fastest quarterbacks the NFL has ever seen, taking that all the way to the house and giving the Browns an opportunity to go win the game right at the end with the field goal.
And you see it from this angle here. The Browns, they were trying to go out into the flat to his tight end was Lamar Jackson, tipped up, and there was almost a collision, and it just kind of worked out because he was in between the two Browns converging on the football. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, I know, was one of them, and he's able to grab it and take it to the house. So that was a big play. But then the Browns, they would miss the extra point, Dustin Hopkins. But don't you worry, he was going to get his redemption, as you well know, because the Browns won on a last-second field goal from Dustin Hopkins. But how did they set that field goal up? Well, this is a play, the dog pile, the Browns scrum that will be remembered for a very, very long time. And I talked with Jerome Fordhoff earlier, and he told me, you know, at first when the play came, I saw Joel come across, pull across, and absolutely kick out and whack the Ravens defender, Jadeveon Clowney. Said, I saw a little crease. I told myself, get skinny, get through it. And then the next thing I knew, I was caught up in a sea of humanity. So break this one down. Let's look at it from behind the line of scrimmage here so that we can see this run action and the play unfold. And you tell us what you're seeing, as only a Pro Bowl Hall of Fame offensive lineman can.
As only an offensive lineman could appreciate. This play starts, and without knowing exactly how this play is supposed to be run, it almost looks like there's a little bit of confusion on the front side of this play. You got James Hudson, David Njoku are on the front side, and Joel Bitonio is pulling from the backside, and he ends up blocking Jadeveon Clowney on the end of the line of scrimmage. But I don't know if it's exactly designed to be that way, because you see the Baltimore Ravens are bringing a secondary element down, and David Njoku allows Jadeveon Clowney to crash hard, thinking that maybe he's going to go across James Hudson's face. James doesn't block him. He gets up to the second level, but Joel Bitonio does a great job adjusting, finding color in the hole. As the puller, they tell you, you turn and you hit the first piece of opposite color that you see. That's exactly what he does. He leverages the hole open. And then Jerome Ford does a great job with some fancy footwork, getting nifty right there, moving around a couple Baltimore Ravens players, finding a crease, getting up to the second level. And anytime you're going to have long runs, you got to have those receivers blocking on the outside.
Yeah, and you see kind of as he gets through that hole, he's about 5 yards, and then he gets stood up by a Baltimore Raven, and he said, I just started churning my legs, and the next thing I felt was 1 push, 2 push, 3 push, 4. Everybody pushing. When I mean everybody, look at Elijah Moore's in there. His legs are churning. Joel says, I got to get on my horse. I got to be a part of this. And the Browns pushed the Ravens for 7 yards, and Jerome Ford said, all I could hear were Ravens guys saying, get the ball out, get the ball out. They were punching in there, clawing in there, and he held on to the football. But this, to me, was such a display of the physicality and the toughness of this football team, Hoff. And you'll see James Hudson at the end of this. He celebrates. Deshaun Watson comes up and gives a fist pump. Amari Cooper's giving fist pumps. What does this do for a team? When you go into Baltimore, you impose your will in this play so emphatically that ultimately gets you in position for D-Hop to win it.
Offensive linemen are a lot different than other positions on the field because there's rarely a time in a game where we can instill energy and enthusiasm and a fire and a spark within your team. But this is one of those rare instances. And you can see James Hudson, how excited he is at the end of this play because the physicality, the dominating, the willpower that the entire offensive line and most of the Browns offense shows in this play gives an energy and a belief throughout this entire team that this is our game, this is our destiny, and we're going to go down and get whatever we need to do to win this game. That's exactly what they did, and it was largely because of the effort and the energy and the enthusiasm and the spark that was created by James Hudson and the Browns offensive line pushing this pile, pushing this scrum all the way down the field, giving the Browns an opportunity to go get the victory.
Yeah, and Hoff, we're going to need more of that, right? We got the news. Deshaun Watson's season-ending surgery on his shoulder is required, coming out of a half in which he went 14 for 14, led the Browns back. It looked like the old Deshaun Watson, did what he was brought here to do, beat the Baltimore Ravens in a must-win situation on the road, and he did that, and unfortunately, that's the last time we're going to see him in 2023. So this offensive line, they're going to have to carry things. We're going to have a new quarterback, a young quarterback. It sounds like Dorian Thompson-Robinson. So we're going to need this line and Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt in this ground game really to be the pillar upon which this offense is built going forward. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. So the formula moving forward after the devastating news about Deshaun Watson is continue to play great defense, get turnovers on offense, got to keep running the ball, and most importantly, take care of the football because you can win a lot of these ugly games, low scoring with great defense and a run game, but you can't win them if you're turning the football over.
That's exactly right. The Browns have got to be clean. The margin for error has diminished significantly, but there's nothing that says this team can't go out and continue to win football games on the strength of that great defense, this great offensive line, and hopefully we can find a quarterback start making some plays on offense and pick up where Deshaun Watson left off. Thanks for joining us in the film room for another edition of X's and Joe's, brought to you by Keep It Fun Ohio.